What's up, everyone? It's Bryan from the Xact IT Cybersecurity YouTube channel. Welcome to this week's video. We're going to get into three topics quickly today. One about the DeepSeek breach and what happened there with this, sort of flash in the pan on the scene AI tool that came out last week that tanked markets as a result. We're going to talk about what happened and why you need to be concerned, not just with DeepSeek's security, but just AI security in general, especially if you own a business. We're also going to talk about a ransomware attack on a Maryland hospital. And then on top of that, we have UnitedHealthcare, one of the largest healthcare providers in the United States. They had a ransomware attack in early 2024, and they've just revised how many patients that has impacted. And you're going to want to stay tuned towards the end of the video as I update you on what's going on there. As always, remember, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to be informed about cyber attacks, how they impact you, and my insight on how you can protect yourself from these cyber thugs. Appreciate the support. Hit the subscribe button on our way to 7,000 subscribers. So let's get into it. DeepSeek limiting registrations now due to cyber attack, and DeepSeek's AI assistant surged to the top of Apple's App Store, surpassing ChatGPT, which led to a sell-off of leading tech stocks, including Nvidia. And the cyber attack on DeepSeek involved multiple layers. It was a very sophisticated attack, almost like somebody was preparing for this service or this app to come online. And as soon as it did, but this isn't atypical, this is not something we haven't seen before. When new services come online, cyber criminals like to go after them to test their defenses to see if they've even thought about security as they develop their new app. And that's what happened here. It started with what normally starts with a big cyber attack, which is a denial of service attack, which will essentially test your network infrastructure and see if you have things in place that can prevent a massive amount of traffic from slowing your service down or even taking it offline. And then the cyber criminals followed up their denial of service attack. And the reason they do this is to distract attention, because while you're trying to deal with the denial of service attack, they're over here trying something else, which is what they did. And they followed that denial of service attack up with a brute force attack, which means they just tried a bunch of usernames and passwords to try to get into the system. So the resulting impact of this disruption to user access and growth for DeepSeek has resulted in the company being forced to temporarily limit new user registrations due to large-scale malicious attacks on its services. Existing users were still able to log in normally, but prospective new users faced difficulties in joining the platform. This disruption came at a critical time as DeepSeek had just skyrocketed to the top spot in Apple's US App Store, surpassing ChatGPT in downloads. So what do you think's happening here? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you think that this was potentially a US-based effort or a US-based company to take down this service that, came on the scene very quickly and disrupted markets? Or do you think that cyber criminals just naturally went after this company as they usually do a lot of times? Only time will tell, but I'd love to hear what my audience thinks about what's going on here. So let's dive into some of the security concerns and trust issues, not only with DeepSeek, but with AI in general, as this cyber attack has exposed potential vulnerabilities in DeepSeek's infrastructure, raising concerns about the platform's overall security. Security researchers uncovered a publicly accessible database containing sensitive information, including chat history, API secrets, further eroding trust in DeepSeek's data protection practices. Some companies in the US have reportedly blocked the app and advised employees against using it, even on personal devices, due to security concerns. I would echo those concerns. I would say that any business should be starting to train their users and inform their users as to what their policy is on AI. And at this stage in the game, if you're going to use AI, I would limit it to a certain number of users and a certain number of systems in your environment. And if you can, you want to segregate those systems from the rest of your network. The other thing you want to be fully aware of is that when you use AI, you don't want to be putting in any private or potentially proprietary information. It's just like publishing it on the web. If you have a website, or you have like WordPress, or you go and set up a website and you put this information out there where people can freely read it, you post it on social media, you have to look at what you're putting into these AI tools as just the same thing as going onto Facebook and posting something. Because as we see here early on with DeepSeek, their database was exposed, and a lot of information that was inputted into their AI tool was exposed to a lot of people. And I am going to bet that this isn't the first and last time one of these types of companies is going to get exposed to this manner, where all the things that were inputted by users are then, put out for other people to see and read and do who knows what with. Typically, this stuff ends up in the hands of cyber criminals and scammers on the dark web, and they pour through it looking for ways to hack further, scam people further, or make money off of just private information that you don't want getting out there. But because of these hacks and the things that people put in, because they trusted the tool a little too much in the beginning, I need to warn you that we see this all the time, and that's why I'm making a big deal about it, is that we know your employees are putting sensitive information into these tools, and you have to be super careful about that, and you have to know what they're putting in. A lot of companies that we're working with are blocking the apps in general because you just can't trust humans to kind of follow the rules and not do things that they aren't supposed to do in the name of maybe getting work done quicker or more efficiently or what have you. So stay tuned. It's just the beginning for AI, but you have to think about what can happen on the back end of something like this. DeepSeek's rapid rise to prominence has cast a shadow over its claims of technological superiority. They're claiming they can do it better, faster, cheaper, but if they're not doing it in a secure manner, are they really doing it better, faster, and cheaper? The incident also highlights the potential risks associated with rapidly growing AI platforms, potentially dampening user enthusiasm as we learn about the risks, and then people and businesses putting the brakes on using these tools because they don't feel like they can trust them enough. The U.S. Navy has even gone out and issued warnings against using AI because of ethical considerations, further impacting its reputation in certain sectors. So you can certainly see that the U.S. government does not want their employees and people using these tools. So I would err on the side of caution, and if you run a business, I would follow the U.S. government's lead and discourage people from using this until you can fully train them on how to use it properly. So the attack has led to increased scrutiny of not only DeepSeek security practices and overall trustworthiness, but also tools like ChatGPT, OpenAI, and other AI platforms. There's growing concerns about data privacy, especially given that DeepSeek stores user information on servers in China. And the incident has definitely fueled the debate about the security implications of using AI platforms developed by Chinese companies, but we also have to consider the ones based here in the US. Just because they're developed here in the US doesn't mean you're out of the woods and you should trust them even more. I think just in general, we need to not trust a lot of things that we're doing, not only with just AI. And I really question, the public's data privacy concerns, because, if we remove ourselves from AI and think about the stories I'm going to talk about next, the DeepSeek thing is one thing, right? But you have hospitals and you have businesses being hacked every day, and people are not changing their behavior because of this. Your information is being exposed and spilled out onto the dark web at a crazy pace today, and companies don't seem to care and don't seem to want to do more to protect your information. So the thought that users might not use the tool or change behavior based on the fact that there might be privacy or security risks, I don't know, because I've been in cybersecurity a long time, and that's not really something the consumer is concerned about if there's a benefit to them for using the tool or using the website or using the service. So users expect companies to protect this stuff, but at the end of the day, users don't typically move away from using these types of tools because there's a data or privacy issue. Look at T-Mobile, for example. That company's been hacked probably a dozen times in the last 5 or 6 years, and people still do business with T-Mobile, mainly because they're a value, cellular service, and there's not many cellular services to choose from out there. So people will continue to use T-Mobile even though they've been hacked multiple times over the years. So we will certainly keep you updated on the latest, what happens with DeepSeek and how that AI tool pans out over the years here as other AI tools and the AI arms race is kind of underway. And I guarantee you we will be covering more security breaches from these tools in the future, just like we will for other things like Microsoft and every other tool that's out there. All technology is vulnerable to a cyber attack. And that's why you should subscribe to this channel and pay attention to this stuff moving forward. So let's move on and let's talk about the ramifications of let's call it a ransomware attack on the healthcare system. And then we'll do the follow-up to what's going on with UnitedHealthcare on the end of this video. So the big story out of Maryland is Frederick Health ransomware attack, and this is in Frederick, Maryland, where the Frederick Health Hospital confirmed it was the victim of a ransomware event on January 27, 2025. What we know about the incident is that the hospital has entered into a mini disaster status and diverted ambulances to nearby facilities. A quote from Frederick Health spokesperson Josh Faust says, FHH, Frederick Health Hospital, is working with third-party security experts to bring the hospital system back online as quickly as possible. Most appointments are continuing as scheduled, but patients may experience delays in healthcare and receiving treatment. Frederick Health employs about 3,300 individuals and generates an estimated $478 million in annual revenue. And this incident affected multiple facilities, including Frederick Health hospitals and outpatient clinics and specialty centers. These additional attacks on these hospitals are happening all the time. We continue to see attacks on healthcare across the United States on a weekly basis. And this is just another example of healthcare failing to do what's needed to be done to prevent these cyber attacks that take down their operations and then make it really difficult for them to serve the communities that they are in. And Frederick Health officials have said that their investigation is ongoing to determine if any patient or employee data was compromised. As of today, they don't know. More than likely there was, and we'll keep you updated as we learn more. And as we learn more, we learn that, when organizations aren't prepared for this kind of stuff, not only does it take them a while to get things, take time for them to get back on their feet and get back up and running, and the less prepared you are, usually the longer it takes, or typically the longer it takes. And in a lot of cases, we see that when these events happen, they don't really know who or how many patients were impacted. And we see that again with one of the largest attacks on a healthcare system in the United States, with UnitedHealth Group and their ransomware attack that they dealt with back in February of 2024. And the news this week is that UHG, or UnitedHealth Group, increased their Change Healthcare data breach victim count to 190 million. And they originally thought that only about 100 million people were impacted, and they've recently just doubled that number to 190 million people. Now, some of these people are deceased, but if you want to say there's 300 million people in the country, that's basically 2 out of every 3 Americans have had their healthcare data breached as a result of this attack. And that's why I've been stressing on this channel for the last several months now that you need to start protecting your own information and being responsible for your own stuff, because cyber criminals are going to take advantage of you if you don't. Things like credit freezes and monitoring your health insurance to make sure somebody isn't using it without your knowledge are all scams and criminal activity that we see happening, and increasingly more against Americans as these types of cyber attacks increase along the way. So if businesses aren't going to do the right thing, or it's going to take them a long time to catch up to where the cyber criminals are, and I'm talking decades, not years, you have to take things into your own hands, and especially your children's hands, as I've mentioned in other videos. There's going to be a rash of kids that come into adulthood and try to go for credit and find out that somebody already stole their identity and used their social security number to get credit in their name. And usually that means they ruined your credit too. And I believe that this is going to be a massive problem that our children are going to have to deal with as a result of all of this information being stolen from companies who fail to protect your data. But there's a couple interesting things that we learned when they announced this information. And we do know the types of potential exposed data include contact information, health insurance details, health information, and billing claims data. Now, UHG is stating today that they are not aware of any misuse of individuals' information as a result of this incident, but it's still early in the game, quite frankly, and they really don't know as of yet, although they do say that they do have some ability to monitor the people that were impacted to see if there's any insurance abuse or fraud going on. So let's talk about the financial impact that we're learning that this hospital had to deal with. That UHG reportedly is spending $3.1 billion responding to the attack from 2024, exceeding previous estimates. And that's always the case, folks. People think this stuff is going to be way cheaper than it really is, especially on the back end after an event happens. It's cliche, but prevention is always cheaper than the cure, and they're going through the cure right now, and they're learning that, wow, this is way more expensive than if we just turned on the multi-factor authentication on the Citrix instance that was hacked in the first place, which seems pretty stupid. You don't have MFA turned on a critical tool, and this is the kind of money that now you have to spend to get out of your problem. And turning on MFA on these and requiring it is, it's a little bit of a hassle for your users when they log in, but is it worth $3.1 billion plus? Because they also paid $22 million in a ransom to cyber criminals, and as of right now, UHG advanced nearly $4.7 billion to healthcare providers affected by the disruption because small medical offices couldn't bill their insurance as a result and couldn't pay their employees and keep their office open. So if the UHG didn't do this, they would have put hundreds, if not thousands, of small medical offices around the country out of business. American Hospital Association referred to this cyber attack as the most significant and consequential incident of its kind against the U.S. healthcare system. And here's the kicker. The final tally of affected individuals will not be confirmed until the review is completed, and that will be submitted to the Office for Civil Rights at a later date. So this 190 million could go up from where it is right now. We don't know, but we'll keep you updated as we learn more. So I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, if you have any comments, drop them down below. We're always here to help you if you need help with any of this stuff. If you own a business and you don't want to be attacked by cyber criminals, there's plenty of links down below where you can get help with this information. There's tons of resources in the description. I'm here to help you. I'm Bryan with Xact IT. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next week in the next video. Take care.